side, we need to say we'll be right back. So, Whistler, now we're to our commercial here. By the way, do you love coffee?
Oh, I love tea more than coffee, but yeah, I usually drink coffee in the morning.
Well, that's helpful because Blended Joe LLC, BLENDEDJOE.com, blendedjoe.com is the sponsor of the Aaron's Opinion podcast.
Very good.
If you want, well, thank you. Maybe I can tell you the truth, which is that you shouldn't drink tea because you should be drinking Blended Joe, right? So if you want fruit, if you want nuts, if you want chocolate in your coffee, if you want a light roast, dark roast, maybe you want whole beans, maybe you want ground, maybe you want K-cups, maybe you want to support a charity, a cause that you care about. Well, at Blended Joe, we've got you covered. Trust me. Basically, as I love to say, if you're sitting on the couch, if you're sitting at home listening to Aaron's Opinion, or if you're on the go, I promise you'll love every sip from Blended Joe. Promo code AARON all the way to the end of the month, 20% off. Don't forget about that promo code AARON. What you said a minute ago about the fact that maybe you started to get into some of these theories.
Wait. What's the website?
Blendedjoe.com.
Okay.
Why am I going to tell you? You're just going to sit there and drink tea.
Yeah, you gotta end with a website so it sticks in their mind.
That's very well. Thank you. We want to thank our guest for helping.
I mean, I'll give it a try. I do have a K cup coffee pot.
So. Oh, there you go. You're gonna buy. You're gonna buy.
Yeah.
I would be curious. Nobody has talked to me about it since I started this basically this promotion. So I'd be interested to see what you think about the experience. The website, by the way, is perfectly accessible. It's really easy to use, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. So yeah, blendedjoe.com. What you said earlier about the fact that you needed to find the truth about life. To help you to understand your blindness is how I interpreted that. That's really, really, really interesting. I was born blind, so I can never understand what it must be like to go blind later on in life.
It's a pain in the ass.
Oh, now I understand. Okay, it's a pain in. There you go. There you go. It's a pain in the ass, apparently. All right. Well, I'm 29.
Think about
how
this.
old are you?
I'm 41.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And so try to think about it like this way. Obviously, you've never had sight, and obviously I've had sight. So
I have the weird thing is, and then it gets weirder because I have usable vision, but I'm blind.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just imagine that you took that away. Now you're completely blind, and rather than being able to rely on your vision for certain things that you used to before, now you can't. Even though you know what's there, but your brain is like filling in the spots for you, but it's going to be wrong because things change. For example, the computer, right? I remember what operating systems look like, but if I rely on my memory to try to operate an operating system today, it wouldn't work. So that's just one of the little fractals of frustrations that going from completely sighted 2015 vision to black.
Mm-hmm. Right. And how did you come to lose your vision, by the way?
It started off actually almost 3 years before I actually lost my sight. It was a random act of violence, and someone attacked me.
Oh my God.
Broke a brick on the side of my head. And at the moment, I had no visible injuries, bleeding, cuts, nothing. Not even swollen skin or nothing. So I thought nothing of it. But over time, what had actually happened was it started to tear in my retina, and it just got worse and worse over time. And then January 17th, 2003, I woke up one morning, and my vision was completely black out of my left eye. That's the side that I got hit. So I drove to work with one eye, and depth perception is still good at that point because you got good memory. And what I was doing at the time was highly graphical. I would program a machine to cut designs that we would program out of like granite, steel, travertine, marble, etc., etc. And I couldn't see the computer screen out of my right eye. It was fuzzy and blurry. So a couple hours into work, I was like, I can't see. And my boss is like, what do you mean you can't see? You drove here, didn't you? Total redneck, but whatever. So I go to the hospital, and after about 6 hours of testing and this and that and the other, uh, turns out my retinas had exploded, but they thought they could save my right eye. So that started a whole 9-month period of um, multiple surgeries. The gas, I don't remember what it's called, but they put a gas bubble in your eye to try to keep your retina in place after they stitch up all the tearing. That gas bubble gave me cataracts. So they took out the lens and put an artificial lens. That artificial lens has 4 hooks that hold it in place, and those hooks actually gave me neovascular glaucoma. So then I had a valve put in my eye, and then multiple laser surgeries, which I technically wasn't supposed to have. So yeah, 9 months later, I had no more visible or usable sight.
Oh, that's unimaginable. Yeah, that's really weird. Well, hmm. So now you've been blind for how long now?
17 years.
17 years. Wow. Hmm. Well, on one hand, I'm sorry that happened. On the other, of course, that's life.
Well, yeah, exactly. Here's a trip. The crazy thing about losing my sight is I didn't come into myself as a person until I lost my sight. Like I was really shy, reserved, and held back internally, like myself. But after I lost my sight, it was just like a whole new world opened up, and it was just no holds barred. I just attacked everything.
Good. You just went at life. You just went for it with the fullest amount of energy
Yeah.
you could possibly muster. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, great. All right. Well, what are some? Now, how did you find out about this particular group on Facebook? Because there's been a lot of complaints about the various Facebook groups and people not being kind. So, what do you think about all of that?
I honestly, I don't know how I got in this group. You're talking about Life After Sight?
I think it's life after
or Life Without Sight. Excuse me.
Life Without Sight. Yeah, maybe that one. Yeah.
I have no idea. Honestly, I don't know how I get into half the groups that I'm in. I know I'm admin for a ton of them. I think just people invite me, and I don't realize it until I start seeing posts from. I'm not on Facebook that much for myself. It's mostly just posting my stuff and sharing things that I've learned, that type of thing. I don't sit on Facebook and I don't even know the last time I looked at my news feed.
You don't troll.
Oh, definitely no troll. No.
I see.
Except Tracy Lynn, I troll her.
You aren't a troll, so basically you're not a troll, but actually you are. Is what it comes down to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If there's a point to the madness, I'll troll you.
Oh, well, do you want to troll Aaron's opinion? You can.
I would have to think of something good to troll you guys with.
such as this recording. This is a pretty good one. At least that's my opinion.
Oh, I got a good one. I could say something like, blind people are immune to COVID. Have you ever heard of a blind person getting COVID? I haven't, so we don't get it, right?
Let's be really careful. Let's go back. Let's erase that statement. Let's erase that sarcasm. No, we aren't going to say that on this show. No, we'll end up getting in trouble for that. Let's not say that. Yeah, that would cause a stir. So let's not say that. But I do think it is interesting how the one factual thing that we can say is it's really interesting to study how social distancing has affected blind people. What do you think about that?
I've heard so many people talk about it, but me personally, I haven't had an issue.
Well, good. I mean, it just depends on who you are, and what you're doing in life. I mean, in my case, see, for me, I'm kind of the type of guy who's been working from home for 5 years for a company. So I'm already used to kind of being on my own a lot. It doesn't bother me as much.
Hmm.
It doesn't bother me as much as it would have as a teenager. If this had happened 10
Yeah.
years ago, this would have been a lot harder for me, probably. I would have been a lot more scared and a lot more upset and a lot more traumatized by it. But really, I mean, I'm already used to being at home, so it's not a whole lot of
Hmm.
difference. Um, but there have been so many silly videos about COVID, and none of the silly videos are true. So
Yeah.
we, I hope that the world gets better soon, and I also hope that people learn from the experience, which I'm
I
concerned.
think it has. I think it has, and I've spoken with many people who this has brought the family closer together. Because yes, they're forced to be at home, but they're doing more family activities, and it's getting back to the family unit. I think.
Who knows? Who knows? And I think that we also need to brace ourselves for, the economic impact of all of this. The health side is one serious issue, no question.
Hmm.
The other serious issue is the economics behind it. So,
Right.
you know, I I don't know. I'm fairly convinced that life will never get back to normal, actually, that it will never get back to the way it was before all of this happened. But I think we are entering a new normal. And I think this is going to be our lives. If
Yeah.
you have a family, great. You know, for me, you may not have watched all of my content yet, but for me, I'll tell you a little bit more about me. I grew up in a very small town in the it's somewhere in North America. For personal reasons, that's a whole nother episode. I keep my location undisclosed. So, in my undisclosed location, somewhere in the matrix, there were not really other people around me my age. So I just kind of had to, go through university, get my degree in international relations. Then I got into
Hmm.
teaching, and I've just kind of been the type of blind guy who's just had to go about their own business and try not to worry about stuff in life. And I live with
Hmm.
my parents and brother. Um, and it is not ideal. It is not a perfect situation, but that is a accurate illustration of life, right? Life is not perfect and life is not fair. And something that I think is really beautiful, speaking of beautiful things such as in our universe, the other thing that's beautiful about life is to study and to have the courage to accept that opportunities are not equally given to everyone, that everybody kind of has their own storyline that we go through in life. And I'm
Hmm.
kind of suspicious of that, because there were certain opportunities maybe that I wanted to do in the past, maybe people I met along the way, people that I've never met again. And you have to wonder intellectually, what the hell good was that, right? Well, the answer is the good of it is that was part of the puzzle of life, that you run into these people throughout life. And that I think is really cool. It's really tough. It's really difficult. And it's really, really interesting. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think every single thing happens for a reason, and I don't have any factual or evidence or proof to provide an answer to that, but it's just a really deep gut feeling. Now, what I can say is there has been studies done on the quote unquote gut feeling, which by the way is a Norwegian word for God. So this gut feeling is 99.2% correct of the time when people listen to their gut feeling. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my little point of evidence. But going back to what you were saying about the new norm,
Yeah.
I instantly thought about the history of the United States alone. So 1776 until now, every decade we've had something happen that has been
Mm-hmm.
world changing. So have we ever actually experienced normal humanity?
No is the answer. It's an excellent observation, without doubt. Right.
Yeah, so I just found that interesting. Got my gears turning.
Well, good. Yeah, I mean, I think that in the long term, what will happen is Americans will have to just move on, with their lives and try to basically start over, is what will
Yeah.
have to happen. I mean, as far as travel's a lot harder now. French is my second language, and this was supposed to be the year that my parents and I were going to go back and spend some time in France, and now we can't do that. So
Hmm.
It's a little frustrating without doubt, but